In this video, we're going to review the pre-touring agreement. At the end of the video, we'll take a look at the difference between the buyer-broker agreement, the showing agreement, and this pre-touring agreement. So this really is the entire agreement. It's one page, front of the page, that's it. It says, I am a real estate licensee with, and you're going to put the brokerage. I would also include your name. Consumer or consumers will use broker services to view properties the parties mutually agree upon for blank days from the date the last party signed this agreement. So whatever it is that you and the consumer agree upon, maybe they're in town for a day, maybe they're in town for a week, and that might be the number of days. I would use this agreement as opposed to the showing agreement if you're not sure what properties you're going to go see. So this just gives you a generalized, this is how many days. So here's the agreement. The brokerage commissions are not set by law and are fully negotiable. You do not owe the broker any commission at this time. If you wish to work with the broker to purchase property, broker shows you. Broker's compensation for services. Broker provides to you will be as follows. Check is applicable unless amended by the parties in writing. Either there will be a flat fee at closing, a percentage of the gross purchase price at closing, or a percentage plus a dollar amount due at closing, or other, whatever it is that you and the consumer agree to. If you wish to work with the broker to purchase a property, the broker may ask you to sign a separate agreement detailing the parties' responsibilities during the sale. At this point in time, it would probably make the most sense that you would have the buyer or consumer sign a buyer-broker agreement. A seller or listing a broker may agree to pay some or all of the above compensation. If the seller or listing a broker agrees to pay the broker for services the broker performs for you, the broker will reduce the amount you owe accordingly. What that means is if the consumer agrees to pay the broker 50% of the gross purchase price, and the seller's broker is offering 45% of the gross purchase price as compensation, the consumer will only have to bring to the table the additional 5% to make up the 50% that they had already agreed to. If you choose a property already listed by the broker, the seller may pay the broker for services the broker performs for the seller, and you will not be responsible for this compensation. So in this instance, that means that the broker has the listing as well. The seller may be paying the broker for those services. The buyer consumer will not be responsible for them. The broker's compensation from any source will not exceed the amount of compensation in the written agreement with you. If the compensation being offered is more than what the consumer has agreed to pay the broker, you can use a modification form and have the consumer sign that if they agree to allow you to receive those additional funds. And then we have a place for the consumer or consumers to sign, for the broker to sign, and also to date. So that is that entire agreement in total. Let's take a quick look at the difference between the three agreements. And this is just very generalized, very compact. Of course, we can get deep into the minutia, but this is just to give you a general idea of the differences between the three. The exclusive buyer-broker agreement is the most comprehensive contract between a consumer and a broker. In this agreement, both parties consent to the broker's compensation regardless of how the consumer discovers or contracts to purchase, lease, or option the property. In contrast, a showing agreement is property specific and details the responsibilities of both the broker and the consumer. However, the consumer's obligation to the broker is limited only to the properties listed in the showing agreement. This type of agreement does not include a protection period or a conditional termination clause. A touring agreement, on the other hand, is established for a specified duration, specifically a predetermined number of days. This form outlines the time frame and the broker's compensation only. So that concludes the pre-touring form and the difference between the three forms currently available for all realtors in the state of Florida. Please take the time to view our other videos on the buyer-broker agreement in addition to the showing agreement. If you have any additional questions, I would contact your broker, and you're always welcome to call the association and we'll help you any way we can.